Hi guys, Doug here with a new video, and this video is again a Enhancement Shaman PvP video, and I'm going to talk about Enhancement Shaman, and I'm going to try to not doom and gloom too much. I will try to give you feedback that I would apply if I was a dev. Obviously, has nothing to do with the ability of the devs listening to me, because it might be just not going to happen. The truth is, the only thing I can change right now would be modifiers, or how some things should work for Enhancement Shaman. I think design wise, it's very hard, because the issue is PvE, like I said on the previous video about Enhancement Shaman, is okay for Enhancement Shaman. They like their build. People that play Enhancement Shaman PvE, they are really die-hard fans of Enhancement Shaman, and they really like current iteration. And they like how many buttons you have. They like how it plays, and how you have like two builds, which is the Storm build and the Elementalist build, kinda. While in PvP, we are not really that satisfied. I don't know too many enhancement shamans that are actually satisfied. I talk to a lot of them in game, but also in my guilds. Like I have a PvP guild on my rogue that I joined. I didn't really create one, but that I joined, and I did discuss with a lot of enhancement shamans, and they're not really happy about the design. But what they would like for sure is to be more viable. So what would I do to improve enhancement shaman? On the class and spec tree, I have a limitation, is that I cannot really change too much, and like because it would be design changes, and that's not going to happen. But a few things that I would change for sure about enhancement shaman would be the mastery, for example, which is not really a design change. It would be just literally increases all fire, frost, nature, and physical damage you deal. Ideally, physical damage you deal. Else, you would have to turn Storm Strike into a Storm Strike source, which is something that is existing in the game right now, because you have Mountain Thane that has Thunder Blast, which is Storm Strike damage. But Storm Strike doesn't have Storm Strike damage. So you see the incoherence with that. So I would like them to add that. And the same for Crash Lightning. Put it also on the Storm Strike school. And I would even say that you could maybe put the Feral Spirits increases all Storm Strike damage you deal instead of physical damage you deal. So you also have like that inside of it. Would make sense, because then it would augment nature damage and physical damage. The same way Sundering now is Flame Strike, which is physical and flame, like fire damage. So I would like to have that. A change that I would make, which I think would not matter too much on PvE, would be that Doom Winds is not melee range anymore. How many times you want to pop Doom Winds and you are in Ascendance, for example, and obviously your Storm Strike becomes a range, but you still cannot apply Doom Wind. So whenever it actually needs to be applied, so whenever you feel like, look, now I am actually bursting, so I wanna do some Doom Winds damage, well, too bad, you're not within the 5 yards, so you're not going to be able to apply Doom Winds on the enemy, which doesn't give you the buff. So I would change that. I'm actually already glad that it's a 1 minute CD, so that's a very big change. Because it aligns with Heroism, which is a big CD, a PvP talent CD that I use very fondly. But the issue is, like, sometimes I'm out of range, and it kind of sucks for my damage. So I would like them to put that on a 1 minute CD, to be on a range CD. So for example, 15 yards or 20 yards would be perfect. So you could also align it with your sentence. That would make sense, in my opinion. And again, if you're using Doom Winds and you don't have Ascendance and you're wasting it, well, that's too bad. That's your problem. What they could change also is maybe make it like, for example, Aspect of the Eagle, I think, from Survival Hunters, where if they push it, they become like ranged with your mongoose bites. It would be nice that Doom Winds actually gives you like a range purpose towards your kit. So for example, if you press Doom Winds and you're kiting around, no problem, your Storm Strike becomes Wind Strike, for example, for that amount of time. So you don't like, you have Ascendance, which is a CD, which is turning your Storm Strike into Wind Strike. But it would be nice to make Doom Winds the same. So whenever you're pressing that 1 minute CD, it would become Wind Strike. It would be a bit less like strong than Ascendance. For example, Ascendance reduces the cooldown and cost of Storm Strike. It should be, for example, just the range. So the range, the bypassing armor, for example. So whenever you're pushing Doom Winds, you get like the bypass armor and the range aspect. So you could actually deal damage even if you're kited. So now your Doom Winds is a range ability, and if you're pressing it, you're able to deal damage even if you're kited. How many times do you Enhancement Shamans get kited while you are in Doom Winds? Often what's happening is you're getting CC'd, which is worse, obviously, but if you're playing versus a Frost Mage and you're using Frost, you're using Doom Winds, often or not, they're just blinking away and that's it, you don't do anything, because you probably use your Feral Lunge for something else, for example. So that would be nice. That would be a nice addition. And I think since you really want us to be like a ranged damage dealer with your lightning bolts, your tempest, your elemental blast, I think it would make sense that your Doom Winds, which is a CD, should also turn your Storm Strike into a ranged ability, which in turn will also open up a lot of builds, because again, Lava Lash is, for example, a melee strike. Ice Strike is a melee strike. Storm Strike is a melee strike. But it would be nice that Doom Winds actually turns your Storm Strike into a ranged strike, which would fit into the team with Doom Winds. Like you have the powers of the winds, where you're like lashing onto the enemy. Would also make your melee strikes also ranged strikes for that matter. So take Ascendance, take away the strong things that makes Ascendance. For example, cost of Storm Strike, reducing the cooldown of Storm Strike, that. And also the Ascendance is active, you will generate 2 miles from weapons, for example, the talents that you get from Ascendance. So for example, these talents, those are not going to count to Doom Winds, but whenever you're going to pop Doom Winds, it's going to turn your Storm Strike into a Wind Strike, and will turn your melee strikes into ranged strikes. So again, it would make more sense in my opinion. So that would be the first change, at least not the first change, but the few changes I would make towards Storm Strike. I would make also Storm Strike being able to deal a bit more damage, so I would probably buff it by 50%, if not more. I think in general, if I'm doing like PvP, and I tested what I will have to take like a fight that I had. I mean, I got pretty much wrecked here, in my opinion. Like my Storm Strike does like 67k, like just one strike. And if I'm going on my Rogue, for example, my Sinister Strike does 100k. I am not okay with Sinister Strike critting and hitting more than my Storm Strike. Obviously, Storm Strike also is like a proccing machine from a lot of factors. For example, you get Awakening Storms from it. You get, for example, another proc with Storm Blast if you have it talented. You have also your Storm Flurry, so obviously it can also proc on itself. You also have your Awakening Storms, like I said. You also can go for Tempest Strike, so you have a lot of like those little procs that are inside baked with Storm Strike. But it would be nice to have like Storm Strike as a standalone ability that you're able to use to deal damage and to be impressive with that, because again, like on the details, nobody's going to like understand that Storm Strike is lower, but you have also your Awakening Storms. You have maybe your like your Storm Blast, or like Storm Blast, yeah, it's called Storm Blast, that you get, like for example, procced as well. So it would be nice that they actually add it, but yeah, I think it's quite tough again. I like the converging storms where if you're like in AoE, your storm strike does more damage. Would be more nice if it was really more normalized and that damage was just like baked into storm strike anyway. So you can have like crash lightning buffs your storm strike by 50%, for example, for 3 seconds. So if you get like um, a proc for a storm strike, you can do like 2 storm strike in that little window and it will deal more damage. I think if you just normalize that, it would be very good for PvP. But I think in PvE, again, the likelihood that you're hitting 6 targets to get like a big storm strike is way higher. But in PvP, these moments are very little, especially since BM Hunter has been like nerfed to the dust, so you don't see one of them. You cannot use their pet to deal more damage. So that would be nice. Another thing that would be nice is to have Wind Fury weapon being able to be put on your offhand, so that you can just disregard Flame Tongue weapon. That would be the ideal for me. I think Flame Tongue weapon is the most useless imbue if you're not having Lava Lash. Literally, quite literally. Like for example, 16 hits, 30k, does 2.6k per hit. It's literally insignificant. If you only did damage with that, literally your regen would be higher, for example. Way higher. So you will not even notice the damage on like the current HP pools. And you cannot buff it. Like you cannot, even if you buff it by times 10,000, it would still not be busted. That's the idea, right? So it would still be like lower damage than a melee strike. So you kind of have to just being able to have Wind Fury being casted on your offhand. So you have like 2 more, like you have times 2 the amount of application you have with Wind Fury weapon. That would be actually very good, because currently Wind Fury weapon, each main hand attack has a 28% chance to trigger 3 extra attacks. It would be nice that each attack, just that, each attack has a 28% chance to trigger 3 attacks. That would be way more damage and way more interesting. Especially since it's physical damage. Like, it's not going to be even OP, it would just be more reliable, and the damage would be more impressive, obviously, because again, you have times 2 the procs, so you will have times 2 the damage. But I think in current landscape of World of Warcraft, I don't think it's like nowhere near the OP things that you would see in the game. Like if you're just watching a Fury Warrior do their damage rotation, or even Windwalker, they obliterate people, like they overkill people. And like it doesn't even matter how their CDs are, because their CDs are quite low, so they can always do that whenever they want. While we as a Enhancement Shaman, we don't have that luxury, especially with this build. So that would be a suggestion of mine. Be able to have like double Wind Fury weapon would actually be way more smooth and would feel a bit less useless. I think Flame Tongue weapon is such a useless imbue. And currently what you can do, again, it seems like a bug to me. You can put your main weapon in Flame Tongue weapon and then put another Flame Tongue. So you have double Flame Tongue. That you can. But for some goddamn reason, you can have Wind Fury and put it on the offhand, because it just is gone. Like it just doesn't exist. It's not possible to do so. So why this is a possibility, while it's also written imbue your offhand weapon, while this is main hand weapon imbue. So how the hell you can actually just change it and being able to do a Flame Tongue weapon and then change it back and then have Flame Tongue weapon and have both imbues? This seems like a bug to me, and has always seemed like a bug since in Dragonflight we have this silly talent which is called elemental weapons, which doesn't like, it's weird that they do that. So please make Wind Fury weapon able to be imbued with both weapons, so we can feel again the power of Wind Fury. I feel like Flame Tongue weapon is such a useless weapon imbue. It's only there to give you extra damage on your Lava Lash, which obviously if you're playing Lava Lash, you get that weapon imbue on because there is just one weapon imbue possible on the offhand. You don't even have like the choice to make a mistake on that. You just have one offhand weapon imbue, which is Flame Tongue weapon, and you only have one main hand weapon imbue, which is Wind Fury. But for some reason, you can also put the offhand weapon imbue as a main hand weapon imbue, which is weird. And because there is no synergy with your main hand weapon imbue with Flame Tongue weapon. So I still don't see any reason for that, but anyways, that would be nice. Second of all, totemic. That needs to be changed. I even made like a second build, which is literally the totemic and physical build, which is on a dummy, it is impressive, but in a PvP scenario, it is quite literally just not that practical, and it is just like a bit silly to play. First and foremost, if you don't have Lava Lash, this, like those two talents, are useless. And if you're not playing with Hailstorm or Fire Nova or Lava Lash, this talent is also useless. First and foremost, you cannot even have this talent without, like, if you cannot summon the Searing Totem, right? So you need to have Lava Lash to make it work, the reactivity, because else you don't have a totem to play with that. And also you cannot summon it, so you have to have Lava Lash. What I would like to see is more choice nodes then. If you're not playing Lava Lash build, please make it not a Searing Totem, but a wind Totem, I don't care. And make it like your Storm Strike has a chance to summon a Wind Totem or Storm Totem to hurl Storm bolts, for example, or lightning bolts that deal 25k storm damage to a nearby enemy, for example, or nature damage to a nearby enemy. Last 8 seconds. And if you have Frost Shocks empowered by your Ice Strike, for example, that could work. Boom. Causing your storm or nature totems to shoot at a Searing volley, which is like a storm volley, for example, add up to 5 nearby enemies. Simple. That would already make Totemic a bit more friendly towards all builds, first and foremost, because this Totemic hero talent is quite literally a hero talent that is making you pick every single talent possible. Because if you're not playing around Storm Strike, why the hell would you have any utility with Totemic Rebound and with Imbuement Mastery? First and foremost, if you're playing like a Lava Lash build, you don't even want Wind Fury weapon. You could literally play without it and have a good time. That's the issue. And also you have whirling elements. Again, you have like air, earth, and fire. And if you don't have Lava Lash, your fire is useless. And if you're playing a Lava Lash build, your air is also useless. So you have to pick like two things that are not very easy to combine. You can make it combine, but it's not going to be very successful because you have that many like keybinds that it's very hard to press every single thing correctly. In PvE, you have all the times in the world because again, it's PvE, right? And yes, it has its own difficulty, and I am going to learn it because I want to do Mythic Plus this season just to test it out and to see how it is with Enhancement Shaman. But in PvP, trust me, you don't even have time to like press all this sequence. Like you want to cast Sundering to get the damage out of Earth Surge, but you also want to do Elemental Blast, but you also don't want to refund Elemental Blast, you want to refund Sundering because it's more interesting. You also want to do a Lava Lash because then you have also the increased critical strike chance and also critical strike damage, which is a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but it's still something you have to press. You have to press to get the benefit. And the same for air. You have to press Storm Strike or Wind Strike to deal 25% increased damage and also damage AoE. The issue is you have to do so much optimization to get like just a fraction of the power that you would have with Stormbringer. You know that meme, like for example, Luxon look at how humans have to replicate a fraction to get a fraction of my power, for example, from invincible. This is literally totemic. I feel like it is a lot of effort, a lot of like pre-planning, a lot of like headaches to get like just a bit of a sample of the damage that you can get with Stormbringer, because there is a lot of great things about Stormbringer. I think Stormbringer is a great and well-made hero talent. I think it could be better though, for sure. For example, I think Awakening Storms should also be able to be applied by your Elemental Blast, because right now currently it's very hard to use your Elemental Blast because you really want to have as many Tempests possible, so you do want to also do Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings and Storm Strikes to have those Awakening Storms, which are going to like guarantee you a Tempest proc. So you can also track it, and you can have like a double Tempest, usage. For example, you're doing Tempest because you have like your 40 Maelstrom weapon stacks, so it's going to replace your Lightning Bolt, but you also have your Awakening Storms, for example, at 2 stacks. So the third one, which is, for example, Tempest, you can proc it, and then you get also another Tempest afterwards, so you can do some insane burst because of that. But I think it would be nice if Elemental Blast was also part of that, because then you would have and you would see way more friendliness towards Elemental Blast. So that's the only thing I would maybe change. I think there would and need a bit more like choice notes here and there to make it more friendly. I think it's a bit silly that Lava Lash is completely like out of the picture, but I think that is the way to go. Either you do Stormbringer like a full Storm Strike Lightning Bolt build and have Totemic like literally the Lava Lash and Ice Strike build, or else you make Totemic way more friendly towards Storm Strike and towards non-Lava Lash builds, and you make Stormbringer a bit more friendly towards like those Lava Lash builds. But right now it's like Stormbringer is doing well because it's very focused, which is very cool, and Totemic is like unfocused and wild. And it would be more nice if it was like a clear like choice, like look, if you're playing Lava Lash build, this is the hero talent you want, and Stormbringer is the hero talent that you want for Storm Strikes and Lightning Bolts and your Wind Fury, for example. It's a bit silly that, for example, Stormbringer Wind Fury is just not there, and it would be nice if it was, but I think there's a lot of things that can be changed. For example, if Wind Fury weapon damage would be like Storm Strike damage, it would also apply the 50% reduced movement speed if you were critting those. Right now it is not the case. It would be nice that Tempest summons a Storm Strike Feral Spirit, so you can also have benefits for your Storm Strike and for your Wind Fury. If they did change that, I did ask, but at least with Storm Strike Feral Spirits, it would also augment the physical damage dealt, obviously. But I think there's still like a lot of things that they can change, but I really like Stormbringer, so I don't want to change too much on that. I'm saying 22 minutes. I'll try to give you another feedback that I would like it to change. I think Primordial Wave is a very boring way to play the game. In my opinion, for Enhancement Shaman, I think it's just not really meant to be. I kind of regret Shadowlands Chain Harvest. It was like out of place because it has nothing to do with Enhancement Shaman, because it's like literally a blood stream. But I found it way more fun and way more rewarding to press than Primordial Wave. I never really liked the Necrolord builds. I always preferred the Chain Harvest build from Shadowlands, and I'm kind of sad that they really go for so many talents that are the same for Restoration Shaman, Elemental Shaman, and Enhancement Shaman. Primordial Wave is for the 3 specs. Ascendance is for the 3 specs. Why not put them on the class tree? That would be a very good choice in my opinion, so you can actually like precisely make other talents for the 3 specs that are vastly different, because right now it's kind of stupid in my opinion to have literally 2 talents that are pretty much the same, except obviously Ascendance does differently for all specs. But it would be nice to put them on the class tree and put like a tooltip for depending on which spec you're going for, and then have your Enhancement Shaman tree changed for that matter. For example, Promon Wave will not be there, so it will be, for example, Chain Harvest, which is something you didn't use it as Elemental Shaman, and you didn't use it as a Restoration Shaman, for example. And it would be nice to have like your Ascendance gone, for example, for, I don't know, a Wind Fury talent, like a very big Wind Fury talent that is making, or for example, a two-hander build talent. I don't know, something you can make it could be more fun. Deeply rooted elements should be also on the class tree, because again, the Elemental Shaman and Restoration Shaman has a way easier access to deeply rooted elements, but we as Enhancement Shaman, we are the black duck, obviously. We need to have like a choice node between those two talents. Like fun is not like allowed in this, so it would be nice to have like more fun, but again, those are my feedbacks. If you're excited by the things that I say, please let me know. Again, I think I have like that many, like I have a lot of ideas for Enhancement Shaman to be way more fun in PvP, and I guess in PvE you could also have fun with the ideas I made, but obviously it would be nice to see some changes, and I kind of hope for Season 1 to be that. For Enhancement Shaman, I do hope they do buff. Enhancement Shaman currently, I do feel like it's a very, very bad spec. Like power level wise, I think fun wise, it is probably the most fun spec I play. It is insanely fun. It just is not rewarding to play, and it's also like very disheartening to do like little damage. Like if I'm fighting a healer, I know 100% I have to run, because I'm not downing someone. Like I see a Holy Priest do 350k's holy fires, but I cannot even do a 300k Storm Strike. So you see, there is like a bit of a problem there, in my opinion, but we'll have to see. Again, I'm testing multiple builds. I'm like, currently this build is probably the most fun I have, because I like Ascendance for what it is. Deeply Rooted Elements is kind of silly to play if you don't have haste. You really need haste for that, but I am going to build like a haste set, like gear set, and I'm going to build a mastery set and decide between those two which one is the most competitive one. So I will be making a guide about that as well. Again, I want to make Enhancement Shaman work. If you see a lot of like those like doom and gloom videos of mine for Enhancement Shaman, it comes from a place of frustration. It doesn't come from something called hate. I don't hate Enhancement Shaman. I just am way more frustrated about Enhancement Shaman, because I know how good it could be, and it really sucks that like I feel like the designers for Enhancement Shaman are not there, or they're not present, or they don't know how PvP works, and they don't know how a like button bloat exists for Enhancement Shaman currently. They might maybe love the complexity of Enhancement Shaman, but it kind of closes a lot of doors to the balancing team. Like it's very hard to balance Enhancement Shaman whenever you have that many more abilities. Like every single ability is needed. So if you're buffing one like highly, then it becomes like way stronger, because every single ability is used in PvP. So obviously also in PvE. So obviously if you buff one very much, it's going to feel like very strong. So if you kind of like merge those spells together, so you can actually add more depth towards those spells and have way more complexity towards those spells, I think it would be also easier for the balancing team to do balancing. But that's my opinion. Again, hopefully you did like the video. Let me know the suggestions you would have to improve Enhancement Shaman. I know people have a lot of like those designs suggestions, and like for example two-hander, or make like the spells like completely different, or rework the spec. That's respectable. I would like them to do so, but I think it for like Season 1 starts in 2 weeks, like, so it's impossible for them to design it in 2 weeks. But we'll have to see. Again, thank you for watching this video. Really, I appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and we will catch each other probably very soon next video. Have a great day.